Hey you guys, welcome to week 1 of August, where we are talking all about enjoyment, and specifically the art of enjoying our lives. It's going to be a favorite of mine. I know we're all probably craving more enjoyment of our lives. So to start that off, I want to talk to you about something that probably seems counterintuitive, because this August is really the capstone, the sort of ending of our little summer trilogy. And so this month, what I really want us to focus on is this idea of letting go, and particularly of letting go of everything we learned before, which, like I said, sounds pretty counterintuitive, doesn't it? But what I want to suggest to you is that this idea of striving, of working really hard, of grinding, of really putting in the effort and struggling to learn something, to achieve more, or even this idea of just really working hard, it's kind of the opposite of enjoyment or savoring our life. It's the opposite energy. So that's why we're really focusing on this. And, there's nothing wrong with working really hard and achieving, or learning new things, or grinding on something, or really putting in the hours and the effort, being very efforting in how we do things. But it's not the be-all and everything. There is this other side of it, which is all about enjoying our lives and savoring it. And we worked really hard in the last 2 months. We put in a lot of effort to learn new things, right? That first month in June, we learned 4 new skill sets, and we practiced it every day. And just learning that took a lot of energy and a lot of mental space. And then in July, we cemented that in. We got into the nitty-gritty and learned that same skill set a little more deeply with a different topic. But now we need to do something else to complete our learning, right? It's time to let it all go. And I have an interesting story for you, because years ago, when I was first doing my very first coaching certification, it was Martha Beck's Wayfinders, and my coaching partner and I, we met every week. And so for 1 week, my little problem that I let her coach me on was that I was just really upset with myself, because I was trying to learn French, and for the last 5 weeks, I had not been putting in the effort to learn it. And I had been doing it daily, and I remember telling her, I'm just mad at myself, because if I don't get on this, if I don't keep learning this, I'm gonna lose it all. If I don't work on it every day, not only will I not get any further, but I might lose everything I have learned from before. We coached on it. But I'll never forget, the next week she came back and she was like, I have to talk to you. And I was like, okay. And she's like, right after we talked, I just meandered happenstance into this article on the internet about learning. And particularly, they were using the example of language learning. And what they had figured out was that it's really important that we take breaks, that we actually put aside our learning and not focus on it for a while, especially with language. And the ideal time for language was something like 6 weeks. She's like, you're doing it perfectly. You don't have to worry about it. And the idea behind that is that that sort of time when we're not actively focusing on it, it sort of percolates, and we learn to integrate things. And then when we come back to it, when we have a moment, we're like, oh yeah, I remember I have that skill set. We have to recall it. And there's something about recalling it that helps us learn it even more deeply and actually integrate it into our lives in a way that's more seamless than the sort of structured, mechanical way we often learn things. So that takes me back to what we're doing here and why we're doing it. Because I think in the self-development world and in the adult learning world, we tend to forget that fact, that we need time to let what we've learned go in order to integrate it. And I think that's really important, because if you're anything like me, if I find a self-development tool or coaching tool or just anything that helps me, maybe it's those journaling exercises. Like, it's really been working for me for the last month that I've been journaling in the morning in this one specific way where I talk about my feelings. Then I have a tendency to want to grind on that, to want to do it every day for the rest of my life, or at least for a year. Or I remember when gratitude journals came out, and I still like to do those, but sometimes we get into this mindset that if we are going to do a gratitude journal and it's helping us, that we have to do it every day for the rest of our lives. And studies again consistently show that the efficacy of doing a gratitude journal every day, it tends to wear out. And if you give it a break and come back to it, it's more helpful. So again, that's what we're practicing here, and that's why this idea of like, just let go what you've learned and enjoy it, and you'll integrate it a little more deeply, and you'll have more fun that way. It's fun to take breaks. It's fun to just enjoy what we've learned and then come back to it. Our first little mini reminder, because that's what you're gonna be getting this month. I'm just gonna come into your feed every once in a while and remind you of some of the things we've learned. It's not going to be any journal pages, morning pages, no worksheets. It's just going to be fun, enjoyable little reminders that help you get the most out of this month, help you to really savor it. So, on that note, let's talk about enjoyment and our feelings, right? Because a big part of enjoyment is just allowing ourselves to feel good, letting ourselves feel the emotions that are most enjoyable and enticing to us. Right? And if you think back, we know how to do that. We know how to create beautiful feelings in our day in little pockets, no matter what else is going on. So we're just going to go ahead and remember that and take that little thing that we've already learned and apply it here. So if you find a morning or maybe an evening, you have just a little bit more time, I want you to go into that space and sort of sip your coffee or drink your tea in the afternoon or sip your wine if that's something you enjoy, and just think, what would be an emotional experience, a feeling experience that would be really, really enjoyable for me? What have I been craving? And I want to remind you, let yourself just be free with this. It doesn't have to be a feeling word, a traditional one. You don't have to say, oh, I would like to be happy or peaceful or joyful or excited. It can be something that resonates with you. Maybe for you, you've been craving the feeling of home, right? And for instance, I have definitely been craving the feeling of freedom, right? That just sounds so delicious to me, that feeling experience of freedom. And then go ahead and just let yourself enjoy what that feels like, right? Oh, the feeling of freedom. It's this feeling of hope and sort of excitement for the future and a sense of expansiveness. There's lots of room to move, lots of possibility. Just let yourself enjoy that. No need to write anything down. Just let it percolate. If you are worried that you're not doing enough, that that's not enough action for you, I just want to remind you that our emotions are what fuel us. They're what drive us. And so it's kind of like driving an actual car, right? Where your attention goes, if you look over here, you tend to drive towards that. It's the same way. If you're craving something and you put your attention on that, you're actually aware of it, and then you start to enjoy imagining that, you're driving your car towards that. If you are worried that you're not doing enough and you are inclined to want to nail this down and grind on it, just for this month, put a note in your calendar for September, or put an alarm on your phone to remind yourself to go back to this. And you can grind on this and take action steps, or figure out 3 things you want to do, or work on manifesting this. You can do all of that in September. But for August, just give yourself the gift of enjoying it and having faith in it, and see where it gets you. You might really be shocked and surprised on what just allowing things to happen does for you. So again, that's what this month is going to be. No worksheets, no journals, just little tiny reminders in your week about things that we have learned that can help you enjoy your month even more. I am so looking forward to this one, guys. Can't wait to see you. I will be back probably in your feed with a little video reminder on Wednesday. Have a really great day. Bye.